Welcome to South London Hardcore, the official podcast of the 2012 Olympics. No, not really. Because could we get removed from iTunes for that, Steve?
I don't know if we could get removed from iTunes, but we could have problems with... I mean, that's the
Have
thing,
a lawsuit
ideally...
on our hands.
Well, ideally, we'd want some sort of action from the AOC, but we wouldn't actually want it to mean we can't do this anymore.
Did you see the recent, I'm not sure where it was, somewhere in Southwark, where the council asked that bagel shop to remove the 5 rings, 5 bagels out the window, saying it was violating the Olympic trademark. But the decision was reversed.
The thing is, bagels predate probably even the ancient Olympics, let alone this modern corporate monstrosity. The torch relay was going through Penge High Street this morning. I didn't see it, but people say on Twitter that before the actual torch arrives as part of the relay, there's basically a bus from Coca-Cola that sort of goes through first. Mainly, you'd imagine, to hand out branded things for people to wave.
Yeah,
so
always
that
the
in
way,
any
innit?
photograph that people have to do with the Olympics, there's some consumerism about it.
We're going to be talking about the Olympics today, obviously. The Olympics in South London. A bit on the Olympics in general because it affects us. I suppose we could start with this torch relay business, Steve. Seems like the biggest waste of time to me. It's not a thing, is it?
No, it's not a thing. I'd be interested. I haven't done the research for this because it's not directly related to South London. But, you know, this isn't a thing, is it? You don't need...
Oh, I touched the Olympic. It's going up every street.
Yeah.
My sister, apparently, it went past her house in New Eltham
Yeah.
today, and she didn't realise it went past. Like, it must just be going back and forth, like just up and down, you know, like the postman.
It's like one of those sort of hail and ride buses, you know, where they just don't go on normal bus routes. They just go through like industrial estates around the back of supermarkets in a way that buses just don't normally. The only upsides to the torch relay, I mean, my big concern was it going through Penge and me not being able to get to work, but it seemed fine. Like the roads were fine, I could get through. People were already congregating on Penge High Street for its arrival, and there were lots of union flags. And, yeah, that's fine. But what was nice was somehow, and I really want to find out where, loads of kids had these massive purple balloons that just said "Pride in Penge."
Oh, excellent.
Nothing Olympic, nothing
No.
branded, nothing. Just said "Pride in Penge."
So was it Pride as in the gay march?
Well, it was only purple.
Because it is purple.
But it was purple rather
But
than...
rainbow balloons are expensive, man.
Yeah, I
so
guess.
maybe they're just going, like, we'll bang out some purple balloons.
Yeah. Just like to think that purple is the colour of Penge.
Unless they're blowing up some condoms. Yeah, why can't someone do the decent thing and sling it in the Thames, man, when they've got it?
Well, isn't there loads? Because you get to keep it if you're a designated torch.
Yeah, what's the...
Because people... This is...
Well, what would be great if someone would, like that Tibetan monk that time, just sit down, set themselves on fire as
Only
a statement.
someone
Man.
would self-immolate
It'd be
to-
memorable.
There was obviously outcry as well when it became obvious that people who were torchbearers then took their commemorative torch,
Put
sold
on
it
eBay, yeah.
And people were going, "This isn't the Olympic spirit." I'm like, "Isn't it exactly the Olympic
Yeah.
spirit?" It seems like with the modern Olympics, with the, as I say, Nike, Coca-Cola, Mastercards, circus, this is entirely the Olympic spirit.
Yeah, it's rampant commercialism now, isn't it?
It's not a coincidence that you got Sebastian Coe, runner and Tory, at the spearhead of this, is it?
Co as well, short for company man. Fitting.
Satire. Not saying that South London Hardcore dabbles in too often. When we do, it's biting, isn't it? Seb Coe's sitting home now. He's like feeling burned. He doesn't even know why.
Choking on his caviar. So
Gone too far. You couldn't sustain it, could you?
no social commentary. I really wanted the World Cup in England, so it'd be a bit hypocritical of me to just completely say I don't want the Olympics here just because I'm not interested in any of the sports in it, which we'll come to later on probably. You know, so like when it kind of interrupts traffic, you know, that's kind of you have to a degree. I think you have to accept that. Do you know what I mean? But what the trouble is with all these things now, with these bids, is that you have to pay millions of pounds. And I presume the Olympics is not as bad as the World Cup, but you have to pay so much money just to impress them and get it over here.
Yeah.
And you have to...
You have to bribe people.
Yeah. Open bribes
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you know, closed bribes, and you have to forego laws of the country to let it in.
the remarkable bit. Also, you know, when you read about, you know, the whole get ahead of the games thing on TFL, when you read about the plans they've got, we're closing all the bridges.
Yeah, that's
a lot of roads. We're going to hand over half of these roads as Olympic land. Was this in the bid? Did the IOC read this and go, you're going to do what? Close that, all of that part for a day? Okay. If you're happy to. And they're like, yeah, we can definitely do that.
Yeah, these bids are... this is what's so bogus about it. I mean, I know this... Let me just go on to a related subject about football. When Qatar was awarded the 2022 World Cup, Russia and Qatar one after the other. I'm bitter because we didn't get it. Yeah, that's, I'll openly admit that. But I also find it extraordinary that they've got a bid book which is the size of a microwave.
Yeah.
And in it, on the Qatar one, well, first of all, I think you shouldn't be allowed to be giving it to a country where homosexuality is illegal.
Yeah.
And where you've got such sort of other restrictive laws against women, and
I doubt if there's many women with driving licenses in Qatar.
But it's only later on, after they've been given it, you got this talk of playing the game in 3 halves or thirds, as it's known. And also, maybe we could have the World Cup in the winter. None of this was in that massive book.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Let's talk about temperature control in the stadiums. What was in it?
Yeah. Well, they're sort of going... it seems like after they awarded it and gone, so Qatar, what sort of climate is... It's it's really hot, isn't it? It's probably not conducive for people to run around in the middle of the day.
German people will die.
My personal take on these events is I don't need them to be in London because I'm not going to get tickets to go and see them. I'm going to watch it on telly if I see any of it anyway, so it might as well be in Mexico City or,
Yeah. When you watch football, commentators are obsessed with where games in the past were played.
Yeah.
I remember once hearing about Gelsenkirchen. And I was just like, what are they talking about? What happened there? And it turned out it was where England lost in 2006 to Portugal, I think, in Germany.
Yeah.
It's they don't seem... These people, pundits and commentators and journalists who go to all these things and they're sitting there and they're obsessed with whether the host nation does well or doesn't do well because it affects the tournament. No, we're at home watching it and it's a green rectangle on the screen. So, it makes no difference, does it? But the difference it does make is that if it was in a World Cup in England would have a slightly better chance of winning it.
Absolutely, yeah. But in terms of the Olympics, I don't know. There's so many different events. There's no such... You don't really have home advantage, do you?
No, and the trouble is, as I said before, I have no interest in any of the sports. So,
but you've also said before, 100 metres is your one exception to that.
Yeah, but that's not in a kind of nationalist.
No.
I don't have a national interest in it. If you know what I mean, it's just a fascination.
In that you want humans to run as fast as they can.
Exactly. So previously we had the Olympics in London in 1908 and 1948, which we'll come to shortly. There were, if I can just do a little spoiler, Steve.
Of course.
It was 1 venue in South London in 1908, 3 venues in South London in 1948, if my maths is right, and in 2012 we've got 4 venues in South London. So we've got two things going on in Greenwich, or 2 venues, I should say, more than 2 things going on. Now we were talking about the evils of sponsorship, right? But you've got this perverse thing where certain sponsors, obviously certain sponsors have paid the money up, and so as a result, the IOC, the International Olympic
Committee,
won't recognise unofficial sponsors if their name is on the venue.
Yeah.
So the O2 Arena in Greenwich, formerly the Millennium Dome, has got a new name, and it's never had this name before. The North Greenwich Arena.
Which is nice, isn't it?
I think we should make a point, Steve. From now on, that's what we call it, man.
NGA.
Just pop it down the North Greenwich Arena. Do you want anything?
Pint of milk.
Can I have a Nando's, please? In the North Greenwich Arena, there's gymnastics, artistic and trampolining. I don't know what that means, man.
Well, the artistic's the floor stuff, isn't it? With the wouldn't be called string, like the they want to have the ribbons.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, I think
What
so.
about when you just run from one corner to the other doing little flips and stuff?
Yeah,
and then at the end you do a little...
I think that's just floor stuff, but I think the artistic stuff is where, it's deliberately decorative rather than gymnastics.
The basketball was there as well, but I think that might just be the final. Lakeisha works in a school. Lakeisha, my wife. If we've got any new listeners today, I haven't listened to previous episodes where she shows up. # more Lakeisha. Her school that she works at is in Tower Hamlets, so they got some free Olympic tickets, right? Just some basketball tickets in Manchester.
So they've this is the level of planning that's gone into it. These Olympics are going to be great.
The school I work in, they've given some tickets for women's hockey. We've got the Olympic logo on our school letterhead, right? You know, like on the footer, you've got like about 7 logos of the different kind of awards you've got and things you participate in. And one of them is the 2012 Olympics, and we got 6 tickets to women's hockey. Like that has been on the letterhead for a year. What's the point, man? But like, there's like millions of unsold tickets in there. Or 500,000, should I say?
Yeah, there's plenty of. They always keep things in reserve, don't they? In terms of that. I mean, but also, yeah, I don't know. If I was interested at all in applying for tickets, they did the thing where they made the process seem so.
Oh, people
ridiculous.
were outraged when they. Nobody seemed to have a good time buying Olympic tickets. No. That's for sure.
And of course, with the basketball, the British team will be helped by the presence of Lord Deng, the Chicago Bulls, who was paid a very nice compliment a couple of weeks ago, where the coach of the US basketball team said if he was available for selection, Lord Deng would have certainly made the US basketball.
But he's from Brixton, so
you can't have him. Brixton via South Sudan, of course.
We've got him on our money in Brixton, so down the road in Greenwich Park, you've got equestrian. And that's when people mess about on horses, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
See, this is the thing with that and gymnastics. I just don't have any time for
Desperate
sports.
things.
Yeah, when you've got a judge and they're deciding,
Yeah.
no, you blow a whistle, right? And then whoever gets there first or throws it the furthest,
whoever
they win.
achieves
Whoever
a
scores the
concrete-
most goals.
Yeah.
But like when it's basically people dancing around,
And then
it's a
someone
talent
goes-
show. I've got no time for that, man. Modern pentathlon is also in Greenwich Park, right? And I thought, oh right, that's proper, but it's not, is it, man?
It's the shooting one, isn't it?
Pistol shooting, yeah.
Yeah.
We were going to replace it with lasers, Steve, but they decided against it at the last minute.
Because the lasers take place in Peckham's Close now, isn't it? So,
I don't know how to pronounce it, man. Irpe fencing.
I'm pretty sure you got it bang on. I think that's pitch perfect.
So fencing, that's kind of sort of semi-legitimate, isn't it? You have to kind of hit the other person a certain number of times.
Yeah, yeah.
But too much gear. They're wearing too much gear for my liking. 200 metres freestyle swimming.
Yep.
Brilliant, you know. How fast can you swim this far?
Yeah, legit.
Show jumping, man.
Nah.
That's not. Why is that in there?
Jumping, isn't it?
Then why don't they have like a proper horse race?
My friend Mike at work got some Olympic tickets. He got tickets for the Olympic football semi-finals.
Right.
And he was like, do you want them? Because I don't really want them. I went, why did you apply for Olympic tickets? What did you want? He went, anything sort of equestrian or horses. I was like, keep your Olympic football semi-final tickets. You'll definitely be able to do some sort of exchange to get equestrian tickets. Someone told me I got equestrian tickets, and like, this is ridiculous. I want to see Neymar. I don't want to see.
I want to see Sandro Raniere. And the other thing is the 3,000, the 3 kilometre cross country run. I presume that's a freestyle run, Steve.
And again, that's a legitimate event.
Yeah, that part is.
running's
But once you throw show jumping in, it just messes the whole thing up. Also, the fact that you've got 5 different events in one, I just don't know how excited you can get about. I mean, obviously Daley Thompson, right? Was it 84? He had that great,
Decathlon,
he had a great moustache and stuff. But
I'm a big fan.
what
of,
is decathlon is all proper stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But I'm a big fan of.
All rounders.
Yeah, I do think there's something about that where you go. It's like Carl Lewis being a great sprinter and a great long jumper.
Yeah, that's pretty special.
You give him extra points as an Olympian for that, don't you? For me, it's always Redgrave because of the amount of time, over 5 Olympics to stay at the top of your game in such a physically demanding
Yeah, that's
sport as well.
ridiculous, isn't it? Yeah.
But someone that can do more than one sport at an Olympic
Quite an
level.
unnatural activity as well, rowing, I think.
Yeah,
To
You're
do that
forcing
kind
your
of stuff
body
with
to-
your arms, man.
Yeah. Well, just the whole
Whereas
shape
running, I mean, we've all run for a bus.
I even made it.
Although we'll
once.
probably come to the Paralympics at some stage, won't we? Where I've heard reports, Steve, from locals that Greenwich Park has just been completely wrecked, man.
Well, that's what the thing. When people saw the plans, they were outraged because, and we went there quite recently, didn't we? And you saw so much of it was closed off, and they were just putting things. You know, they've closed so much of it, and put fences up around a lot of it. I mean, I'm sure that they can put it all back afterwards, but it just seems,
I'm sure they won't be going at the same pace, will they? When they look to rectify it. But yeah, such a lovely park, man. It'd be a shame. 2 more venues in South London, Stephen, the current Olympics.
The All England Lawn Tennis Club at Wimbledon.
And croquet.
And croquet. Olympic croquet.
Yeah, it will be interesting, I think, to see Wimbledon with the players wearing not just not wearing not prominently wearing white.
Yeah.
And also just covered in adverts, unlike the normal kind of Wimbledon.
And it is odd where normal Wimbledon is essentially a corporate event, isn't it? It's a private company establishing.
Yeah, it is, but as we kind of established on the Wimbledon episode, it's quite egalitarian in a number of ways.
It is, but you'd imagine that would be the one where they've got a commercial bent to it. The Olympics is supposed to be about. Yeah. I just think there's this real dichotomy between the amateur spirit of Olympians and the mercenary commercial nature of the organisers. Just seems this really odd thing where people in the past have had medals that they've earned through effort stripped because at some point they earned some money. And it just seems now that Seb Coe can drag together a big pile of cash for himself to sit on afterwards, now that he's not running, and he'll earn more from the Olympics for not running than he ever did from running.
And so I'm assuming you don't know what the fourth venue is, Steve. I'll give you a clue, Steve.
Is it a football ground?
We came very close in episode. I can't remember which number it was.
That's going to make it hard for me to guess.
Royal Artillery Barracks.
In Woolwich?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Shooting. And in the
Good place to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, man. And Paralympics, they're going to be doing archery there as well.
Okay.
It's quite a range of... This is the thing, so many shooting events. It's like with the cycling thing and swimming, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where people come away with like 4 gold medals from one Olympics. No, swimming, like you won 1 for that. What were your other gold medals in?
Yeah. Well, Thorpe's talking about maybe topping... Is it 7 he got before?
Yeah, he wants to become the most decorated Olympian of all time.
Yeah. When he can, just through being good at swimming.
He's no Steve Redgrave, though, is he? I sound like Steve Redgrave needed a boat, whereas he didn't. He was just using his massive feet. Yeah, you mentioned before, Steve, the 100 metres, which is something I'm interested in, only because... partly because it's a spectacle. I like the fact that it's short. One of the things I don't like about cricket is that the games go on for about a fortnight. And they have like lunch breaks and stuff, and it just goes on forever. They don't even try and hit the ball really most of the time, do they?
They sort of leave.
They just don't want to get out. And the games don't tend to finish, do they? Weather affects it.
You've got 2020 now for people like you.
Exactly.
With
exactly. There's like 2 types of the same game. You don't need that in 100 metres, do you? You have the 100 metres, and it's over in 10 seconds. Or the way Usain Bolt's going, like 8 seconds or something now.
4 times, they don't do 4 times 100 metres though.
Really?
Yeah, they don't do 100 metre relay though. That'd be mad.
4 times 25 metres. Yeah, so that's always exciting, I think, just because it's, the definition of what a human can do.
Yeah.
The fastest a human being has ever run. And obviously Usain Bolt has just smashed the record twice, and it's just an extraordinary thing to witness, really. So,
and of course, you were saying before about the number of people who have run sub 10 seconds, and no British runners managed it, have they?
Yeah. There's the Jamaican team. There's just like there were 3 Jamaicans in it, I guess. I think you have to narrow it down, but there's like 52 Jamaicans that have run the 100 meters. Current Jamaican sprinters who've run 100 meters in under 10 seconds.
Because obviously there was a lot of controversy about Dwayne Chambers being allowed back into the Olympics. But my thing is, if he wants to train for months and put himself through the mill to finish 6th, If he gets to the
Oh,
final,
no.
that's fine. You know what I mean? As long as you understand, once you're not cheating, you're not even close to contending with these people. You were never, and that's why he had to cheat, didn't he? In the end, he was never going to be good enough without it. Other people accept that and don't bother entering Olympic competitions. Dwayne Chambers thought, I'll give it a go. That's what's going to happen.
Or you go the Ben Johnson route, innit? Wait till the night before.
The thing that all shocked me about Ben Johnson was the fact that at any point people thought he wasn't on drugs. His eyes were yellow. It's amazing. And you sort of see his eyes afterwards. His eyes like bulging out of his head and they're yellow. You're like, he's on all the drugs, isn't he?
There's an ESPN 30 for 30 coming up on Ben Johnson.
Oh, really?
There's a new series in October.
What, another 30?
Well, they were already like 36 or something, weren't they?
Of
They
course,
just
yeah.
kind of had a strange number. But yeah, there's a load more coming, and that's one of them. So that's exciting. I mean, we're talking amongst ourselves now. But the ESPN 30 for 30 documentary series, mostly about American sports. Not, at least 2/3 anyway.
Yeah. Nothing about South London. Otherwise,
Nothing.
we would definitely have covered it by now.
Wasn't there one on Duncan Goodhue? No, there wasn't.
31 for 30. There's another Olympic legacy for South London currently.
What's that?
Blackheath.
Oh yeah, what is that, man?
It's missile. What were you thinking? You're looking really positive.
Because they've like.
They put in missile batteries.
Is that what it is? Yeah. So if anyone starts kicking off, they just chuck
gonna-
a bomb.
Yeah.
Bomb. Who are they going to bomb then?
Just the area where it's all kicking off. So if someone goes into Wembley Stadium wearing a Pepsi T-shirt and know that Coke are the official sponsors, they could just get the coordinates. They've probably got more pre-programmed, and they can just bombard the area. It's great, really good. That's what you want from the Olympics, isn't it? You want disruptions to the roads, massive corporate sponsorship everywhere, and the threat of military action against
Civilians.
civilian populace. Yeah. It's the magic of the Olympics, Sebco told me.
Football, Steve. I used to do a football blog. Now I mostly tweet about football from @Yids. Get Steve @Vents Wales. Me @Jack McEnroy. The show @SLHC Podcast. Go to southlondonhardcore.com as well. Just slip in, the links in naturally.
Because there's no way he stands to the end.
No, because now I've forgotten what I was going to say. But no, football.
One South Londoner, wasn't it, as we pointed out?
Yeah, Ryan Bertrand.
Yeah.
I've kind of bored people with my views on it, but maybe not the people who are listening, so if I can just get it out of the way.
I'm sure you have.
The Olympics are supposed to be, like, as much as we're knocking the commercialism of it, an Olympic gold medal is, one of the top sports prizes.
Yeah, we need to make this clear. I'm a big fan of the Olympics as a sporting event. I think it's one of the it's one of the best sporting. That and the World Cup, they're amazing events. They're you're seeing the best people at what they do. You're seeing excellence, but as I say, I hate the things around it.
But right with football, it just if and the same with tennis, less so in the last couple of years. But if the Olympics is not the pinnacle of a particular sport, then what is it doing in there, man?
Well, this is my thing. The Olympics should be about excellence. You should be seeing the best people of their disciplines. With tennis, you've pretty much got that. Once you've got Federer and Nadal in,
but Nadal's not in it this year.
But generally, if you are getting the top players going, I know what you mean. It's not a major. It's not a slam. It's not something that counts in the same sort of way. But at least you've got the top people there. With football,
it has. It's turned around the last few years. I think that something changed where did the tour kind of start recognising it in a different way.
I don't want to sound cynical, but I think
they broke him off a piece, man.
I think Federer was basically told to go by Nike, and then is Adidas for Nadal?
Yeah, I think so.
So Adidas then can't have Nike. It's just it's the positives of
high tech.
Commercialism.
They said Tim Henman, don't go to the Olympics.
But yeah, essentially that would be it. It's going to be the fact the Olympics. Whether you think a sport should be there or not, I'm very traditional when it comes to Olympic sports. I want athletics, I want swimming. I always have this thing about the Olympics. It should be about the sports where it's
track and field.
It's the human body in it. It's just the human body, excelling in whatever it does. And once you get into tennis, where you've got elements of technology, not necessarily
things you can measure is nice, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I just want maths. You know what I mean?
Just have some numbers.
I get the most joy I've ever got out of anything related to the Olympics is just looking at the 100 meters record progression.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's not even exclusive of the Olympics. Do you know what I mean? Just going on Wikipedia, and then it went up by 4 hundredths of a second. So yeah, tennis is kind of moving towards being an
You've
important
got the
event
best
for
people.
Tennis.
With football,
It can't be.
Yeah.
It can never be because you've got this ridiculous situation where you pick 18 players and 3 of them can be over 23 and the rest have got to be under 23. That kind of age restriction doesn't exist anywhere in football or anything like it.
No.
It exists anywhere.
If you said it was an under-21 tournament, then at least you've got...
Well, it would be a youth tournament.
Yeah.
But
that's fine. That'd be legitimate. You go, these
no,
are
but it wouldn't, though, would it?
But at least then they're the best players at that particular... You've sort of like got clear boundaries and you go, they're the best players in the world at that age for that country.
Yeah, but
it's still not ideal.
What event? Are there
absolutely.
any events in the Olympics with age restrictions?
No. Not I know of.
So that just means that not everyone's going to pick their best players. Obviously, Neymar is there. He's one of the best players in the world. Sandro he's playing for Brazil as well because basically what it used to be is that it wasn't part of the FIFA calendar, so clubs didn't have to release their players. But it's since been changed so that they have to release their under 23 players, and the Brazil have got the actual Brazil manager running the team.
Yeah.
As have some other countries like Uruguay, for example. Whereas Britain. We'll come back to that in a second. Whereas some other countries have the kind of youth manager.
But again, with Brazil, that's going to be pressure from Nike as well. Yeah, Nike would then fold that into their ridiculous schedule. They've got the Brazilian team. I mean, people are saying it's not fair. The Brazilian team. There's only one player in the Brazilian squad who hasn't played for the full Brazilian national side. But the reason for that is Brazil are constantly playing football. They're like the Harlem Globetrotters. They're just constantly travelling around.
Yeah, they don't really play in Brazil anymore.
Play in a friendly anywhere. So at some point or other, they've picked everyone they can. Just because if they picked the same squad, they'd be exhausted and clubs would be up in arms. So I think Nike have sort of forced Brazil to take the Olympics more seriously than.
What is this idea? It keeps coming up on Twitter when I kind of moan about the Olympics. In Brazil they take it really seriously because they've got they feel like it's the only thing they haven't won. Yeah. They've won 2 Copa Americas or something ridiculous like that. Do you know what I mean? They concentrate on winning proper tournaments. You don't need to worry about the Olympics. The calendar is packed, man. Top footballers are playing too many football matches.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that should be given, but it's not because obviously the IOC have broken off FIFA a piece, and that's why they're allowing, why they're kind of pushing it. And you just got football all year round now.
For the Olympics, football's clearly the most popular. People say fishing. What are you talking about? Football's the most popular sport in the world. It's got the global reach and no other sport can match. So the Olympics needs football, and FIFA needs money. Doesn't, but it wants it. So it's easy enough for the IOC to, as you say, break off a piece for FIFA. FIFA approve it. They can enforce clubs releasing players, and suddenly the competition's elevated. It's still not a proper tournament because, as you say, it's just too convoluted in terms of rules.
Luckily, the country I support is not normally involved, England, and it's Great Britain at the moment, and it's not a representative. If you were to pick an 18-man British squad, right, and there were no age restrictions, would you pick any of those players?
Yeah, it's
arguably Michael Richards, but he didn't make the Euro squad.
Well, the thing is, and then you had Stuart Pearce told by the FA that he can't pick players who played during 2012.
Rightly so.
So he would have picked Andy Carroll, he would have picked Oxlade-Chamberlain, he would have picked Theo Walcott.
Wayne Rooney. Yeah, what Stuart Pearce doesn't quite seem to understand is he's sort of moaning about the FA restricting him on the players he picks. If the Olympics was a worthwhile tournament in which you could pick all the best players, he wouldn't be managing a team in it. Do you know what I mean?
We've got a South London representative in the Great Britain Olympic squad.
Yeah, Ryan Bertrand, isn't it?
Ryan Bertrand and Conrad Williams.
Who's that?
He's a runner. He's going to be in the 400 metres and the 4 by 400 metres relay squad.
Well, and that's it? No one else from South London?
Well, he's the only one that I know of. I'm sure
there are probably others, man.
Yeah, probably others.
Bradley Wiggins, isn't it? He used to train at Herne Hill Velodrome.
Northern, though, isn't he?
Islington.
Yeah. But, as you say, legacy of Home Hill Velodrome. There's also one other claim that we can make on South London can make on the 2012 Olympics.
Go on.
Mandeville and Wenlock.
Pardon me?
Do those names mean anything to you? You can probably have a guess at what they are, just from...
Didn't this come up in... Go on, tell me.
They're the Olympic... Not characters, what would you call them? Mascots.
Mascots, yeah.
The mascots.
Like World Cup Willie.
Like World Cup Willie. But these are obviously amorphous robot. Have you seen them as figures? They're just odd, sort of misshapen things. Named after Mandeville and Wenlock, two villages that have a strong role in British Olympic history. Mandeville was where the Paralympic Games originated. And Wenlock was the place where, before the modern Olympiad started, there were, this takes us before 1908, there were British Olympic Games with a K on the end. Wenlock was one place. There was another place that had a wilder version of the Olympics. One of the events was shin kicking. It was that sort of thing. It was basically just sort of village games, but they would call them the Olympic Games, the Cotswold Olympic Games and Wenlock. And to recognise... Because it seemed that Britain has a sort of unique role in keeping the Olympic spirit alive, in that they had these games even when the Olympics weren't officially running.
Yeah.
Wenlock's seen as like the birthplace of the British Olympic spirit, and Mandeville representing the Paralympics. So these two mascots are named for that, but they were designed by a company based in SE1. I'm not going to name them because I think as designs... They're awful.
Really?
I mean, do have a look.
Do they match with the kind of 2012 logo?
This is the thing. When I say they're not out of place with the overall setup of the 2012 Olympics, that's not a compliment.
Have you seen that GIF of the 2012 logo rotating so it says Zion?
I've seen it before, just because one of my favourite conspiracy theories surrounding the 2012 Games. Firstly, someone spotted that around the Olympic Stadium there's lots of biblical names. There's lots of roads that have names from the Bible. Ignoring the fact that the Bible's got a lot of names in it and like, a lot of roads. It's one of those wonderful things where they go, but if you look there and then, you go, well, they're named after trees. It's not a tree-related conspiracy. But this is what these people do. They find patterns and then try and retank into it. But related to that, people noticed that you could create the word Zion out of 2012. And someone pointed out there's a high possibility of... Have we talked about chemtrails before?
Don't know.
It's where, where planes leave exhaust in the air?
Yeah.
Conspiracy theorists call those chemtrails, and they think they can do various things. They can, they're trying to make the populace infertile, mind control. But a popular theory that came out of the Games was the idea that the British government are going to use... Well, I say British government, the Illuminati, we're going to use chemtrails to seed the air over the Olympic Stadium. And then during the Olympics, they were going to broadcast a hologram over the Olympic Stadium of Jesus. And they were going to fake the second coming during the Olympics. And it was all tied into the Mayan calendar in 2012. It was just tapping into all these ideas. And I was reading about it on a mad conspiracy website in the comments bit. And one guy came back and went, what about the Muslims? They don't see Jesus as Messiah, they see him as a prophet. And the Jews don't see him as a Messiah. It's only Christians. This isn't going to work. This is a terrible conspiracy. And the guy came back with, and this is possibly my favourite element of any conspiracy theory, went, the thing about the chemtrails is you'll see whatever Messiah you believe in. So the idea is you'll get people nudge each other going, see Muhammad up there? I don't, I see Jesus. Alright, interesting, because I see a different... Yeah.
And you, Steve, you only believe in conspiracy theories that involve Nike.
Yeah. I'm just saying, you put that tick upside down, doesn't do anything, does it? Doesn't do anything.
So do you want to go back, Steve, to 1906 when Vesuvius erupted?
Yeah.
Why?
Well,
if you had a time machine, that's where you'd go.
Obviously, for the 1908 Games, it was originally awarded to Rome. But as you say, the eruption of Vesuvius meant that Naples was essentially covered in volcanic ash. And essentially the Italian government had to take all the money they were going to spend on the Olympics and redirect it into fixing their country, which is not unreasonable, I don't think. So London stepped up, mainly because the Franco-British exhibition was going on at White City.
Yeah.
So they had the infrastructure in place for a large-scale event. They still had to sort of improvise a lot, but it was seen as the city that was best placed in terms of having a transport infrastructure in place, having venues ready, more so than other cities. So London stepped up to the plate.
All South London provided was the tennis at Wimbledon, as we've said, which would have been the old Wimbledon, wouldn't it?
That's right.
Remember, go back to our Wimbledon episode 20 something. SouthLondonHardcore.com, top left episode guide.
The 1998 Olympics, so generally provided, and this isn't South London based, but I think it is fascinating. What's the distance for the marathon?
26 miles.
26 miles, 385 yards. Do you know what the Olympic marathon distance was before 1908?
25 miles?
25 miles. Do you know why it was changed?
Something to do with the route, yeah?
Yeah.
Is the distance between like White City and somewhere else?
During the opening ceremony, there was a lot of controversy over flags.
Right.
And it's interesting when you look at it in terms of the time it's happened. We're building up to the First World War. We're building up to a time when nationalism is essentially going to peak to a point where people are going, the only way to get rid of these people is to slaughter a country. We're going to have to kill these people. So you've got Finland occupied by Russia at the time. So the Finnish athletes were supposed to march under the Russian flag and just didn't bother because they were like, there's no way we want to be affiliated with these guys. So you got a bit of a tinderbox situation there. The Swedish flag, someone forgot to put the Swedish flag above the stadium. So the Swedish team went, we're not marching at all. It was just like, this, and obviously they're organising on the fly, so bless them. But the big controversy came when the US team refused to dip their flag to the royal family during the opening ceremony. That was the traditional. The idea was you march past the Queen, dipped your flag as a mark of respect. But the American team had a sort of firebrand Irish Republican element to it.
Okay.
And the US team captain said, his quote was saying,
my Nelly.
Well,
don't tread on me.
Even better, this flag dips to no earthly monarch.
Wow.
You're like, okay, that's fine. So it was seen as a slight to the royal family, and to try and reassert...
Which it was intended as.
Yeah, which it was intended as. To reassert the status of the royal family, the marathon started at Windsor Castle. And to make it actually work into the grounds of Windsor Castle with the endpoint of the stadium, it meant adding an extra mile to the route. So they went, okay, we'll make it 26 miles. And the Royals were like, okay, that's good. It's nice to negotiate. The reason it's 26 miles, 385 yards, is the Queen said, well, it'd be nice if it started under the windows of the Royal Nursery.
Oh, wow.
And they went,
It's
well...
Victoria.
Who would it have been at the time? No, I don't think it was Victoria. But yeah, basically they said...
don't you know your monarchs?
Nah, why am I getting involved in the British royal family? I don't want them there, do I? So it went from 25 miles to 26 miles, and then they went 26 miles, 385 yards, so we can start it under this window. Wow. And now that is the default marathon distance. Yeah. They run the London Marathon to that distance just because that's now the marathon distance.
When I was researching where the marathon would go, even in the past Olympics, I thought, maybe it would dip south the river, but it doesn't.
No,
it's different to the London Marathon, the route, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, obviously, because it ends up in the stadium and they run around it, don't they?
That's it.
And then a Kenyan guy wins.
They're the rules. The other thing about 1908, well, a couple of things about 1908. I don't know much.
Can I just ask a quick question about the marathon?
Yeah.
Does anyone do it in like a kind of rabbit costume or anything?
They do it as Daleks.
No.
The guy won bronze last time rounds. Imagine if he'd done it properly. Yeah, it's like Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
Usain Bolt should do 100 metres in like a deep sea diving outfit, isn't it?
You should, man. Make it fair.
Finish fourth. Dwayne Chambers just behind him. Yeah, 1908. I don't know how much research you did into it generally as an Olympics. It's a nonsense, isn't it?
Is it?
Oh, it is absolutely outrageous. Some of the things that happened. Well, it's just obviously it's a short time to organise, but Yeah. One of the events is jeu de paume.
Tennis.
Real tennis. Yeah, yeah. And you're like, okay, well, I guess that's this. The tug of war. Olympic tug of war. Olympic tug of war. And this will give you, I think the Olympic tug of war...
How do you do that, man? Is it a round robin?
Teams, yeah. When I tell you the medalists in the Olympic tug of war, you'll realise how entirely nonsensical it was to even have that event in the Olympics. The gold was won by the City of London Police Force.
All right.
The silver was won by the Liverpool Police Force. And the bronze went to the Met.
So like the other countries?
Sweden finished fourth because they refused to take part in the bronze medal match. Probably because they realised it was nonsense because it was just being dominated by police forces.
It's not good for your health either.
But also, what you're talking about, modern Olympic football and its terrible selection process. What is this Olympic selection process where police forces are going into separate teams? Just outrageous, isn't it? Also, they had an entire category of Olympic sports that were water motorsports.
Like jet ski racing?
Well, no, it was just motorboats, essentially. Motorboat races. And, you can have... You were saying earlier about Steve Redgrave needing a boat. He didn't need a motor, did he? At that point, you're sort of going, this is pointless, isn't it, if you're doing that?
He is the motor.
Please propel yourself. I think... Also, all that aside, I think just a glance at the medal table shows you how nonsensical it was in the Olympics.
Great Britain. Well, Liverpool Police Force won.
Well, Great Britain, 56 golds, 51 silvers, and 39 bronze medals. The USA got 47 medals in total. So, Great Britain got more gold medals.
Yeah.
Got 9 more golds than the USA got in total.
I wish they'd set up the World Cup earlier, man. I think they'd set up the World Cup when there was just no one else doing it.
But you'd have like...
England, Scotland. England, Scotland.
Again, without wanting to court controversy, I forget which Olympics it was, I was reading about it the other day. But Upton Park FC were the great British representatives. But it was on the Joy 6, on the Guardian Joy 6. That's probably you
was
as
it?
well.
No, I read it on Wikipedia at some point.
Yeah, but it's nothing to do with West Ham, so we can't claim a second world championship. or indeed...
would that even stop you then?
Or indeed a first.
I'm sure that won't stop you. Shocking football player.
By my reckoning, in 1908, South London won 6 golds and 3 silvers.
In which one? 1908?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is not bad, is it?
Who are
they? Charles Henry Bartlett of Bermondsey won gold in the 100-kilometre track cycling. James Baxter of Greenwich won silver in the 12-metre class of sailing.
Some other guys.
Well, rowing, we did well. Philip Verdon of Brixton got a silver in the
I was probably bombing down Effra in training.
The football team only won South Londoner. But, and you like this, because he was a Spurs player.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Who was he?
Vivian Woodward.
Oh, right.
As only one South Londoner in the team, Vivian Woodward of Kennington. So, carrying on the fine tradition of Kennington football, as discussed in our FA Cup episode.
Yeah, episode something or other.
They won the gold. As I say, only one South London player on the team, but he was the captain. And he played over 100 games for Spurs, played over 100 games for Chelsea as well, though. So.
They've ever fined in those days, Chelsea, haven't they?
He scored a goal in the final as well. So he was, as a captain and captain.
And Britain won, yeah?
Yeah. If you name a sport, the chances are there was some. It was just embarrassing. You look at the medals thing. Yeah, did well in the rowing. 2 golds, 2 silvers from South London. But
Steve Redgrave.
I've managed to find the only 2, and I think this sort of narrows it down in terms of us picking out great South London Olympians. There are 2 South Londoners who won Olympic gold medals in South London.
Oh, right. So the tennis guy.
Yeah.
And the tennis woman.
Gwendolyn Eastlake Smith won gold in the women's singles, and Reggie Doherty won gold in the men's doubles. Reggie Doherty, and we should have covered this in the Wimbledon episode, was born in Wimbledon and obviously played most of his tennis in Wimbledon and indeed at Wimbledon. He won the men's singles titles in 1897, 1898, 1899 and 1900.
Wow.
He won the singles title 4 years in a row.
Did he play in Pomme de Terre or whatever it's called?
No,
Pommes frites.
he didn't play. He only played fake tennis, not real tennis. Yeah, he didn't win the singles title in 1901, but in 1902, his brother Laurie won the singles title. He also won in 1903, 1904, 1905, and 1906. So these two brothers from Wimbledon, between 1897 and 1906, won 9 men's singles titles at Wimbledon, and won a good few doubles. They're both asthmatics as well. So, yeah.
It's a comedy sport, isn't it? People running around in a 3-piece suit.
Yeah, some of the photographs are amazing. They're wearing like jumpers and bow ties, having just won Wimbledon.
1936, Steve. Berlin. Yeah, Hitler. Everyone's saluting.
You're painting a montage right now, aren't you? Like,
Jesse Owens outruns him, right? He could have had Hitler. He could have been giving Hitler a piggyback and he would have beat him. You see the distance?
Yeah.
Whoops him. What happened after that, Steve? There was a war, wasn't there? World War II.
It was a war, yeah.
Come on, man. I'm expecting you to take over at some point, Steve.
I'm ready to go, but you seemed lost in the referee about
I'm trying to pass the
1936.
baton.
1936, Berlin. Hitler, Jesse Owens. A battle of wills, some called it. 1948. And it's another thing where, obviously 2012 is...
Why have you jumped to 1948, Steve? 1940. Couldn't have the Olympics.
Right,
Yeah?
sorry, yeah.
1940, Tokyo, right? Can't have the Olympics because there's a war going on.
Yeah.
So they go, then it goes to Helsinki, but that gets cancelled because there's still a war. 1944, they say London can have it. Still can't have it, yeah, because the war's just finishing off.
There's still a war, though, isn't there? Yeah.
Right, now 1948, Steve, go.
Yeah, with 2012, this is officially London's third Olympics. I think it's London's third Olympics, but it's the first one that's been given to London without any sort of asterisk next to it. It's not with 1908 and 1948. It was like you're the only ones that can really have it. No, everyone. 1908, you're set up for a tournament, and they've got volcano everywhere. Yeah, there's one everywhere. That volcano. 1948. Europe's decimated, including London. London's still all over the place. It's still sort of, obviously there were bomb sites into the 50s, in London. They're still rationing. It's the austerity games. That's what it's popularly known as, because no new venues are built. There's not an Olympic village. The Olympic athletes just stay in existing accommodation.
The radical move of the visiting athletes stayed in existing accommodation.
Yes,
whatever
remarkable,
next.
isn't it? Yeah. Again, with the games, that you have to sort of have a look at the composition of the games.
Germany and Japan not invited.
Not invited. So, they were still shunned
on the naughty step.
Yeah, sort of like you can come over when you say sorry, and then you're allowed to play tennis. No USSR as well, who were invited, but obviously at that point we're sort of going, we got plans for you. They were thinking Red Dawn in it, but it never happened.
What's Red Dawn? Is that Arnold Schwarzenegger film?
It's not.
No, that's Red
Schwarzenegger.
Sonja.
That is Red Sonja.
Red Dawn Sonia. It's a woman's name.
Red Dawn's the amazing one with Patrick Swayze about a Russian invasion of the United States, like a land invasion of the United States.
What, it's fictional?
Yeah.
The film is like an alternate history. Is that the idea?
It's basically, what if the Russians landed and this bunch of rowdy school kids sort of fight off Russian yeah. We get the normalisation though of the Olympics. The USA get 38 golds and Great Britain get 23 medals in total. So suddenly it's an inversion of 1908 where, a lot of the nonsense, there's no mad sports. It's pretty much an Olympics that you can recognise and a US team that you can recognise. South London's medal tally drops in proportion. 2 silvers. Still not bad. Dorothy Tyler Oldham of Stockwell, silver in the high jump. And Alfred Mellows got, from Croydon, silver in the rowing 8s.
So we've got 3 venues, Steve.
Yep.
We'll start with the Herne Hill Velodrome, shall we? Which
Yeah.
was during the war used as an anti-aircraft rifle centre. I was watching a video on the Guardian website just before I came out, right? So I didn't get to check where this guy came from. But it's this guy Tommy Godwin. He won 2 bronzes there, the 1,000 metre and the 4,000 metre. I don't know, freestyle, wasn't it? There was an interview with him, and he went back there. He was in a bit of cycling around. He had his original bike, he had his original jersey. Yeah, man, it was quite a good little. We'll put a link to it.
There was some controversy about Herne Hill Velodrome, though. Some of the cyclists and journalists were outraged at some of the arrangements that were made. One race, the finals took place at 9 o'clock at night. There were no lights in Herne Hill Velodrome.
Yeah, bike lights, isn't it?
Well, didn't use those either. So
Well, they use.
it was basically done in pitch black. The Italian team's blue jerseys apparently were virtually invisible in the dark, and they couldn't use flash photography for the photo finish because of the affecting the cyclists' night vision. So they worked out who won, but it wasn't easy, and a lot of people were sort of up in arms at the shoddy organisation.
Have you heard the Chemical Brothers song Velodrome, the official 2012 Velodrome theme?
I haven't. You like it, didn't you?
It's brilliant. I loved
Really?
it, man. It's like very Kraftwerk, man. There's, the Kraftwerk single and then album Tour de France,
I do.
which I quite like, man. I like the single. I'm not mad about the album, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of, it draws on Kraftwerk a bit.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's great, man. I loved it, the Chemical Brothers track. Because what's in it? Muse did like an official Olympic song. And thing is, I love Muse, right?
Yeah.
I know people hate them, they think it's silly. And who was
just
it? Graham
being silly.
Coxon said you'd never hear someone playing Muse on a council estate.
Odd thing to say.
Yeah, I know. He was talking about how you would hear someone playing the Libertines. That,
Right.
that was his point about Libertines being good and Muse being bad. I like them both. But they did quite a bad song for the Olympics. It's quite kind of a bit opera.
I was going to say
orchestral.
bombastic.
It's kind of
I
orchestral
can imagine
and
because
stuff.
they get a bit carried away.
He does
sometimes,
get a bit
don't
carried away.
they?
If you're going to see him live, man, he's bringing out the piano at any opportunity, man. Although, tremendous live show, I thought, man. Really
Yeah,
good.
people rave about him live. People go,
Yeah,
it's the
it's
best
just-
live show.
They're the type of band that people do love or hate, man. Olympic football. 1948, there were 3 games played in South London. 2 at Selhurst Park, right? Denmark 3, Egypt 1 after extra time. 12,000 people in the crowd.
That's the first round.
And the other game there, Sweden 12, South Korea 0.
And South Korea had previously been successful in South London, of course, because they played their first round match against Mexico at Champion Hill.
Yeah, home of
5-3.
Dulwich Hamlet. Yeah,
yeah.
6,500 people apparently. Which is, I've been telling I was telling people at school, like kids, like in the 1948 Olympics, just up the road at Dulwich Hamlet.
South Korea and Mexico. Yeah, Sweden won the tournament. 12-0. Henry Carlson scores a hat-trick, but he's bettered by Gunnar Nordahl, who gets 4 goals. Gunnar Nordahl, at the time, was playing for AC Milan.
Oh, is he one of those?
He's a incredible player. He still holds the record. He won the Capo Capinieri 5 years in a row. That's the award for the top scorer in Serie A. So they were an incredibly strong team.
In the South London Press or the Southwark News this week, one of the two, interchangeable, aren't they? They had a picture of the programme from Champion Hill, from South Korea, Mexico. Also got the Paralympics, Steve, yeah? But just a quick word on that Channel 4 Paralympics advert.
I've not seen it yet, but I saw you raving about
Oh
it.
my gosh, it's like the best advert
Really?
I've ever seen. It's
Yeah.
incredible, man. It's just so well put together, man. It's like, it's a kind of, starts off your kind of standard inspirational sports advert where it's just quite quickly cut of like people, sportsmen, Paralympians, doing their thing, even just like high-fiving and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like stumps, And then then it shows like a soldier getting blown up and like this car going off the roads, right? Like because obviously they're Paralympians.
Yeah.
And then like there's a bit in the hospital. It cuts to a scan, like kind of a live scan of a baby that's obviously and then it cuts to the mother like holding her in the hospital, like obviously like finding out her child is disabled.
Yeah.
Will go on to be this Paralympian. And it's got Public Enemy, Harder Than You Think.
No.
Do you know it? It's from 2007. I didn't know the song before, but it's such a great. I've listened to it 9 times today. The song. I downloaded the album, but I just downloaded Public Enemy discography.
Yeah.
And the album. I can't remember what it's called, man. Something like Selling Your Soul, something like that. It's like the 20th anniversary album.
Yeah, they have these mad puns in there. These really long album titles that are just mad puns.
But the song is just... It's such a great track, harder than you think.
Yeah,
it's just like... Do you know the song?
I don't know.
It's like Flavor Flav, I think, going... Yo, Chuck D, on the way to the studio, man, these guys were saying that Chuck D, he thinks he's nice. And I say, no, he knows he's nice. And then Chuck D just comes in, this kind of big, Rolling Stones of the rap game. I'm not bragging. It's such a great track, man. As I said, I've listened to it 9 times today, at least 5 times yesterday. And the advert is, it just works so well on the advert. Like, Kick Your Door Down Hip Hop is like kind of my favourite stuff, man.
Well, Public Enemy also were representing South London over the last couple of nights. They played a gig in, I forget whereabouts they were, but they did a shout out for Smiley Culture.
Oh right, I know.
They named him as a man wrongly killed by the police.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we won't be going to any of the South London events, and certainly won't be watching any of them on television either. But if you are listening and you are going or whatever, tweet us, let us know if you had a great time.
Can I just say, you don't speak for me. If I want to watch the Modern Pentathlon, and I don't, but if it's on, I will, then I will watch the Modern Pentathlon.
It should be quite easy to catch up, man, on iPlayer and the BBC website these days, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, my thing about the Olympics is you find yourself watching things that you wouldn't normally watch.
People always say that, but I don't. No.
Okay.
I only ever watch things I've chosen to watch. Okay. I don't sit there flicking over. I put on Breaking Bad.
I'll put on the Olympics and I'll give it a go, whatever it is. Just because, I don't know, it's usually human stories, isn't it? For someone, that's the greatest day of life. You may not be a fan of the Modern Pentathlon. In fact, we can take out that may not, because we know you're not a fan of the Modern Pentathlon. But, I'll give it a watch. I'll watch someone do some show jumping with a rifle over their shoulder wearing swimming trunks. I imagine that's how it goes, isn't it? That's the thing. If they did it all in a row,
are they like on a horse in a wetsuit?
Yeah, that's the thing. If it was like was it triathlon, where they sort of run with the bike and then jump on the bike and then jump in the river, so like bang, bang, bang. But they're doing this over like 2 or 3 days. But if they were in like a horse riding helmet, gun over their shoulder, in swimming trunks,
anyone's carrying a gun, man, laser gun.
You'd be watching that, wouldn't you? Yeah, they've got a laser gun, and they're. So if that's the case, we'll be watching the Modern Pentathlon. Otherwise, not.
I presume, Steve, this week you'll be putting clips up on the website. I've got a new series that I'm writing on the website as well called Natty Roots, about buses, or, my time on buses. So click the link up the top that says writing, and you can find Steve's stuff, These Electric Avenues, and Natty Roots there. That's on southlondonhardcore.com. Remember, at SLHC Podcast on Twitter.
Find us on iTunes.
Yeah, we're on iTunes. Yeah,
Leave a comment.
We're on all the podcast apps, man. If we're not on your podcast app, send us a message and we'll get on it, yeah?